Good morning. Welcome to the Minoxidant webinar series. My name is Emily Adams. I am the Business Development Manager at Minoxidant. Today's presentation will focus on vehicle exhaust source capture. Today's presenter is Mike Murphy. Mike is the National Sales Manager at Minoxidant and has been with the company since 2009. A bit of housekeeping for today's webinar. In the lower left corner of your screen, we are encouraging participants to text questions. We will read back the questions and answers throughout the presentation in an effort to encourage dialogue throughout. Without further ado, we will turn over the presentation to Mike.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Emily. Thanks for coming to today's presentation. So, Minoxidant specializes in source capture systems, and that's important because source capture is the most effective way to protect the breathing zone of the worker. Now, there's many regulations federally that call for the elimination of vehicle exhaust. In particular, the 2015 International Mechanical Code says, in areas where motor vehicles operate, mechanical ventilation shall be provided in accordance with Section 403. Additionally, areas in which stationary motor vehicles are operated shall be provided with a source capture system that connects directly to the motor vehicle exhaust. So the reasons why we want to make sure we capture vehicle exhaust, as you see down below the list of issues that can be caused by vehicle exhaust. So chronic respiratory distress, bronchitis, reduced lung capacity, skin cancer, lung cancer. So the benefit of source capture is that it's the most effective way to protect the breathing zone of the worker. Now, again, there's many reports. So if you look at this one, this is a NIOSH, or National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health report. And I'm not going to read the whole article to you or report to you, but I'd like to give you the synopsis, and that is several studies over the past 5 years indicate that workers exposed to diesel exhaust over a number of years are more likely to contract lung cancer in addition to other maladies. So with that being said, that helps justify the cost of purchasing a vehicle exhaust extraction system. Now here's another one. This is the International Mechanical Code and BOCA, or Building. Again, there's a lot of information there to help justify that, and in particular, not only eliminating vehicle exhaust, but justifying the purchase of a source capture system. So here, again, it says, additionally, areas in which stationary motor vehicles are operated for periods of time exceeding 10 seconds shall be provided with a source capture system that connects directly to the motor vehicle exhaust systems. So again, we're recognizing the concerns of the gas and particulate poisons in vehicle exhaust, and then we're recommending a source capture system. Now, not every governing body says source capture, although they do, but as an example, OSHA says the ceiling level for carbon monoxide concentration is 200 ppm. Anything beyond that, we need to evacuate. And I think that's great that OSHA makes that recommendation. The problem that I have with that is that they're talking about measuring the gases and the exhaust at the ceiling level. And I think, as we all know, the majority, certainly not every vehicle, but the majority of vehicles have a below chassis tailpipe. So if you think about that, the exhaust is being presented at the floor level and measured at the ceiling level. The problem with that is in between those two levels are our breathing zone. So we're actually filtering the exhaust before it makes its way up to be measured. That's why source capture is the most effective way to prevent that from happening. Now here's an example of a popular solution for vehicle exhaust extraction. This is the Minoxidant hose reel. So in particular, what we have here is this is our reel, this is our hose, this is our tailpipe adapter, and this is a hose stop. Now a spring hose reel works almost like a window shade. When we pull that hose down, once we stop pulling, that hose reel locks or latches in place, and we attach the hose to the tailpipe of the vehicle. Once we're done, we pull it down again, and it unlatches or unlocks, and it begins to recoil. Now, I want that hose reel tailpipe to stop recoiling when it's about 6 feet above finished floor. And the reason for that is that allows the average person to be able to reach it, because you must reach it to be able to pull it down and to be able to utilize it. So again, the concern with that would be if we're installed at 13 feet, this hose stop is going to be positioned at a certain point on this hose. If we're installed at 18 feet, obviously it's going to be a little bit higher. So basically, depending on the height of the install is where we'll place this hose stop. And again, the hose stop is there to prevent it from recoiling beyond the point of the 6 foot above finished floor. All right, next we have what we call our large L series or dual spring cassette. We've added a second spring cassette because when you get into larger diameters, and I guess basically what I'm saying here is get into the 8-inch diameter hose or maybe even 6-inch but very long lengths, we want to make sure that we can handle the weight of the hose and the tailpipe adapter. They tend to be heavier with larger diameters. So with a single spring cassette, we may overwhelm that, and in that case we'd have to go into a motorized hose reel, and the only downside of that would be that motorized hose reels are more expensive. But by adding a second spring cassette, we don't double the weight capacity, but we increase it enough to be able to handle the majority of 8-inch applications. So theoretically, we can put 44 feet of 8-inch diameter hose wrapped around this drum. But in practice, we don't recommend that. And the reason for that is this. If we truly need 44 feet of hose to be able to reach our application, once we start pulling and we get to that 39, 40, 41 foot mark of the hose, the tension on the spring is going to be so tight that it's going to want to pull it out of your hands. So again, although we theoretically can do it, we recommend that we stay about 36 feet of the 8-inch diameter hose. Now, I'm going to show you a video on the spring hose reels, and what I'd like to point out before we watch that is I think most people understand how you would use a spring hose reel on a below chassis tailpipe. But in this application, in the video, you'll see the application was strictly for vertical stacks. So what I'd like you to notice is how easy it is for us to be able to utilize the lifting pole on the lifting sleeve and place it over the vertical stack. So it's a very user-friendly system. And then also note the relatively short length of hose on the hose reel because we don't have that far of a distance to travel from the hose reel to the vertical stack, and that is a cost-saving measure.
Minoxavent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Minoxavent hose reels are the premier solution for vehicle exhaust fume extraction. Our spring hose reels offer a convenient and efficient method for extracting harmful emissions from all types of service areas or any indoor location where internal combustion engines are run. We offer motor-operated and manual spring retractable models that are delivered completely assembled and ready for installation. Spring hose reels can be connected with ductwork to a central exhaust system, or each reel may be equipped with a direct mount fan. Minoxavent spring hose reels are offered in 4, 5, 6, or 8-inch models. The two most popular hose types are the Minoxavent 4000 series, a high-temperature silicone product, and the 5000 series, a medium-temperature polyester product. A variety of hose and tailpipe adapter options are available. Product information and specifications are available on our website.
Okay, next we have our motorized hose reels. So again, up to this point, we've said anything above 8-inch diameter hose, we're going to automatically put you in a motorized hose reel, again, because of the weight and the diameter of the hose and the tailpipe adapter and such. Now, the hose reel on your left is what we call a box motor or direct drive. And the hose reel on the right is what we call a tube-type motor. And basically, if I were to open this handle and this panel, you see a sprocket and a chain and a gear. So it's sprocket, chain, gear driven. Now, each of these have different weight capacities. You would not have to worry about that. We would put you in one or the other depending on the hose type, the hose diameter, the hose length, tailpipe adapter. But I like to point them out because you may see this one on one particular project and this one on another project, and that would be the reason why. Now I want to show you a motorized hose reel video, but there's something I want to point out here. So as the video opens, you'll see a fire truck up on a lift, and you'll see a pickup truck pulling into a bay. So with all things being equal, we certainly could have gotten away with a spring hose reel, 6-inch diameter hose, 600 CFM for this application. But the issue here was, in that same maintenance bay, there's an overhead crane that travels back and forth. And you can imagine, when we talked about the spring hose reel, I have to have enough hose hanging down to be able to reach it. Well, that now is an impediment to the travel of the crane. So in this application, one solution for that would be to go with motorized hose reels. And you'll see in the video that the motorized hose reels can wrap completely around, the hose can wrap completely around the drum and clear a pathway for the overhead crane.
Minoxavent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Minoxavent's hose reels are the premier solution for vehicle exhaust fume extraction. Our motorized hose reels can be found in military applications, aircraft ventilation, dyno labs, auto repair facilities, garage settings, high ceiling bay applications, facilities with overhead cranes, or any indoor location. Our motorized hose reels offer a convenient and efficient method for extracting harmful emissions from all types of service areas or any indoor location where internal combustion engines are run. We offer motor-operated and manual spring retractable models that are delivered completely assembled and ready for installation. Motorized hose reels can be connected with ductwork to a central exhaust system, or each reel may be equipped with a direct mount fan. Minoxavent motorized hose reels are offered in a variety of standard widths from 4 to 8 inches to an XL series of 8 to 18 inches. The most popular hose type is the Minoxavent 4000 series, a high-temperature silicone product. A variety of hose and tailpipe adapter options are available. Product information and specifications are available on our website.
Okay, next we want to talk about the XL series, and XL just stands for extra large. The largest hose reel that we manufacture currently can handle 65 feet of 18-inch diameter hose wrapped completely around the drum. So you can imagine the size of this. Now this is an area that really helps separate us from our competitors. Some of our competitors can make large hose reels. None of them make the hose reels to the quality that Minoxavent does. So an example of an application for these, well, there's several. One would be, we have them at Fort Lee in Virginia and Fort Stewart in Georgia. And these are military facilities where they bring in the military mechanics and they teach them or train them how to maintain the vehicles that they're going to see out in the field. So this could be some very large pieces of equipment. It can be tanks or tube haulers or whatever. You get the idea. But there's very big hose reels, very big applications. In that particular case, I want to say we did 3,500 to 4,000 CFM for the 18-inch diameter hose, and we were somewhere between 6 and 7 inches of static pressure. Now, another place we may use these for are dynamometers, especially on very large pieces of equipment like agricultural or construction type equipment. All right, here we have, this is a complete solution. So you could not do this in XL hose reels, but below that, the smaller hose reels, this gives you a complete package. Does not take up much space. We have our hose reel, our hose, our tailpipe adapter, and it really doesn't matter if it's spring hose reel or motorized hose reel. And then we have our fan directly mounted to the hose reel. So again, does not take up much room, works great. In this configuration, we have our discharge pointing up as if we're going to go through the ceiling, but we can rotate this so that we're going through a sidewall. To me, that's important because it always is nice not to have to make a roof penetration if you don't need to. So the other thing that we can do with this, we can put what we call our DMS HR switch on here. That's direct mount switch hose reel. Now, one of the applications where that is really useful, we do a lot of schools, high schools with auto labs in them. So basically, when we put this switch on, when the kids pull this hose down, the fan starts automatically. And when they let this hose retract, the fan turns off automatically. So we've kind of taken some of the decision making away from the kids, because the idea is we do not want them to pull the hose down and attach it to a running engine without the fan operating. So this takes that away, or the ability for that to happen away. And then the other thing I like to point out here is it does not have to be a direct mount fan. So you could have a central fan with several hose reels attached to it, and we can still use the DMS HR switch. They'd be daisy chained together so that when the first hose is pulled down on those hose reels, the fan starts, and when the last hose retracts on the hose reels, the fan turns off. So again, it's a nice, easy way to utilize that type of a system. Okay, here we have on the left is an agricultural type pieces of equipment, and that's utilizing our XL hose reel. And then on the right, we have our L series hose reel, and that's a military facility. We do a lot of work with the military. All right, next is our overhead system. Now, an overhead system works similarly to a hose reel in the sense that everything is kept up and off the floor, so you have a nice, safe work environment. Basically, the way it works, if you see this ductwork here, and you can see several drops, but I'll just pick one. If I follow it down and back up, there's a lifting sleeve, and attached to this lifting sleeve is a balancer. And if I follow it all the way down, we have a tailpipe adapter. So when we pull this hose down, once we stop pulling, that balancer locks or latches in place, and we attach it to the vehicle. When we're done, we pull it down again, it unlatches and recoils, keeping everything up and off the floor. Now, the systems are designed to capture 100% of what's conveyed through the tailpipe, plus we like to bring in ambient air. So we'll design our systems to bring in somewhere between 20 and 25% ambient air. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, it eliminates any leakage. And number two, it helps cool the exhaust as it goes through the equipment. Now, the positive aspect of this is that, it works. It gives you the same abilities as a hose reel, but it's not as expensive as a hose reel. So for those budgets where costs are a concern, this is a great solution. The negative would be that it's not as aesthetically pleasing as a hose reel because of the loop of hose here. So it really depends on your customer, their budgets, and what their tastes allow for. Now, the system on the right is what we call our RTS system, a retractable telescoping system. Basically, this is a low budget, kind of down and dirty type system. What you see below this ductwork is about $450 list price. So it is really a low budget system, but it works great. So example here, we have our tailpipe adapter, we have our hose. This first section is 3-inch. This second section is 4-inch, and the third section is 5-inch. So I fit everything together, and on this tailpipe adapter, I have an S-hook, or a chain, I'm sorry, with an S-hook, and then I put it here, there's an eyelet on this collar. So I fit everything together, I put the S-hook in the eyelet, and that's how I keep it up and off the floor. When I want to use it, I simply unhook it, and I attach it to the vehicle. The caveat to this would be, because this first section of hose is only 3-inch diameter, I really can't do more than about 150 CFM through there. So this system is limited to automobiles only, and only in an idling type application. But if that is your application, this is a great budgetary system. Now, next I'm going to show you the video for the overhead system.
Minoxavent creates innovative air cleaning systems for workspace environments. Minoxavent's conventional overhead systems offer a user-friendly and cost-effective solution to the problem of breathing contaminants in the workplace. Our systems can be found in auto dealerships, motorcycle shops, light or heavy-duty equipment repair facilities, garage settings, railroad, bus transit, and manufacturing facilities. Overhead systems incorporate many hose types and lifting configurations, including boom, duct, and pivoting crane mounts. The hose types range from high-temperature silicone to medium-temperature polyester. Lifting configurations include ropes, pulleys, and cable balancers. Retractable telescoping system and swivel booms offer alternatives for overhead exhaust extraction. Complete your package by adding a direct mount fan for a standalone system, or connect to ductwork and a central fan. A variety of hose and tailpipe adapter options are available. For more information on specific products and models, visit the product section of our website.
Okay, next we have what we call our boom arm on the left, or our pack arm, which stands for pivoting articulated crane. These are tools that we use to reach of our standard product offering. So the one on the left, we call it the swivel boom. It comes standard up to 13-foot length, but we can make longer lengths if needed. And it has a shoulder joint that you can see here. So whatever we put at the end here, we can reach out into an area where maybe there's not a wall or a column to attach to, and we can cover that area. The shoulder joint allows us to cover the circumference of that area. Now the pack arm comes standard up to 20 foot in length, and again we can make longer custom lengths if needed, but it has a shoulder joint and an elbow joint where you can see here. So again, whatever we put here, we can reach out into an area, and not only with the pack can we cover the circumference, but we can bend it here and reach the interior of that area as well. All right, this is an example of a facility here in Michigan, and this was a different solution as far as being able to capture the exhaust from this vehicle, and we had an overhead crane traveling back and forth in that same area. So with the hose rail, we went above it. With the pack arm, we've stayed below it. Okay, this is a custom pack arm. This is an application in Denver, Colorado, where they had a fleet of snow removal equipment, and this was a singular maintenance bay. Now, the fleet of equipment was not all by the same manufacturer, so some had vertical stack, some had below chassis tailpipe, but the customer wanted point of source capture for all of those vehicles. So if I lay this straight out, it's 32 foot long. My wall bracket here is 6 foot. I have a shoulder joint, an elbow joint, and then my drop here. So I can reach every area of this bay in order to handle whatever piece of equipment comes in there. All right, next we have our underground system. Now an underground system works great, and you can kind of get the idea here, because when it's not in use, it's a nice, safe, clean work environment. And when you want to use it, simply open up this floor port, the hose is stored inside, and you connect it to the vehicle. Now here's an example of our latest, newest stainless steel floor outlet assembly. And take a look here. We customized this for a Chevy dealer. We put the Chevrolet emblem on this. So this just kind of demonstrates the customization abilities of Minoxavent. You can see here where the hose is stored inside this. So this ductwork is all underground. And then when you need it, you can pull the hose out. So the positive aspects of this would be everything is out of the way until you need it. There's no hanging hose, so it's aesthetically pleasing. The negative aspect used to be that most times the engineers would specify galvanized ductwork or PVC ductwork. And in fact, the earth is corrosive by nature with its elements attacking the ductwork. And then we would introduce our own elements. So in some climates, it would be rock salt in the winter, water, debris. So we're kind of attacking that ductwork from the inside. Well, what can happen eventually is that the ductwork starts to deteriorate, and when it does, it can collapse and impede the airflow. When that occurs, you'd have to pull the whole flooring up to replace your ductwork. So in that case, most times people would just shut it down and go with an overhead system. Well, Minoxavent has come up with a solution for that. So we've invented what we call our VE underduct, or underduct VE. It's a fiberglass reinforced plastic designed to handle the temperatures that you'll see in vehicle exhaust applications, but is not negatively impacted by the corrosive nature of the earth. So the ductwork will be there probably longer than the building itself. Now, underduct VE is the only non-metallic vehicle exhaust duct certified to meet building codes by the ICC, or International Code Council. This is one of those things that really helps separate us from our competitors. And then lastly, another benefit of this type of a system is we supply everything. So in most applications, we'll supply the equipment, we'll supply the fan, but we don't normally supply the duct. That's normally locally supplied by the mechanical contractor. In this case, we'll supply the underground ductwork as well. So it's kind of one-stop shopping, one point of responsibility. All right, next is our Norphy rail system. Now the rail system is a very unique solution to specific applications. And it's, not to sound dorky, but it's just very neat. It's a very cool way to do it. So most popular application for this would be car dealerships. And as an example, say we're designing a car dealership, and just to keep it simple, let's say that there's 8 bays in this dealership. So if I'm talking to the owner, my first question is, what's worst case scenario? How many engines will be running at the same time? Because that's how I need to size my fan. And so again, it's never 100%. So normally the diversity factor is going to be 30, 40%. So let's say out of the 8 bays, he says, well, he or she says, I never run more than 3 engines. So my next thing would be, hey, do you want to just designate 3 bays, and we'll outfit it with this type of equipment, and that's where you'll start vehicles. And again, normally he or she will say, no, I have 8 bays. I need the ability to start an engine in any of the 8 bays. So with that being said, theoretically, we should put a hose reel or an overhead drop in each bay. But with a rail system, I can run my from bay 1 to bay 8, and I can put 3 trolleys on that because I never run more than 3 engines at the same time. In this case, the trolley has an overhead drop on it. and then I can simply move this trolley up or down that rail to wherever I have a vehicle running. So I have maximized my coverage and minimized number of drops that I need. Now, I'm often asked, well, is there a cost savings? And the truth of it is, in that scenario, when I ran the numbers, I used 8 hose reels versus an overhead rail and 3 drops, and there was a savings, but it was only about 7%. The real savings comes with the installation. It is much less expensive to install a rail with 3 drops versus the 8 overhead systems or hose reel systems and all the ducting that is needed for those applications. So again, car dealerships love them because they're kind of cool technology, and that's what they're trying to go for with their cool cars and everything else, and it's just a great solution for those and several other applications. Now there's 3 different rails. We have our Techno Rail, our ALU 150, and our ALU 2, our standard or core product, and then there are larger rails available for larger applications. We can also put hose reels. We can put simple drops or the RTS system. We can also use these for other applications besides vehicle exhaust. So as an example, if you had several welding stations in a row, we can put the whatever number that are going to be operating at the same time, we can put that number of arms on there, and we can move them up and down as needed. So we can, again, maximize our coverage and minimize the number of drops needed. Here we have the Norfy tailpipe adapters. Now these are a higher end, higher quality tailpipe adapter that most entities don't need and aren't willing to pay for, but some insist on it, so we wanted to make sure we added that to our product offering. This would be our standard tailpipe adapter offering. So we have rubber, steel, stainless steel, vice grips. Basically, whatever the configuration is for the tailpipe, we have a solution for it. And when the manufacturers come out with new design, because of our customization capabilities, we have the ability to handle those as well. Here's some simple sizing guidelines. Now this is for normal tune-up or idling type applications. So for cars and light trucks, we're going to be 4-inch diameter hose, 300 CFM. For medium trucks and light buses, we're going to be 5-inch diameter hose, 450 CFM. And then for dump trucks, large buses, some industrial, some ag equipment, 6-inch diameter hose, 600 CFM. And we're going to want to be somewhere around 2,000 to 2,500 feet per minute conveying velocity. The idea there is we want to capture the exhaust, we want to keep it in our airstream, and then we want to deposit that exhaust wherever we want to deposit it. So recommended hose types. Our 5000 series is perfect for cars and light trucks in a tune-up application. Our 4000 series is perfect for the larger vehicles, buses, some ag, some industrial equipment, semi-trucks, things like that. And then our 3000 series hose is perfect for the underground application, and then any application where you're going to allow the hose to lay across the floor. So our 4000 series hose can handle 600 degrees continuous and up to 1250 degrees intermittent. These are perfect for hose reels and overhead applications. Our 5000 series hose, 350 degrees continuous and up to 550 degrees intermittent. That's perfect for hose reels and overhead systems as well. The 3000 series hose can do up to 600 degrees continuous. You would not want to use this hose on a hose reel because there isn't an internal structure, so if it got to a bending radius, it will collapse on itself and impede the airflow, but it's perfect for the in-ground system or, again, any system that's going to be drug across the floor. This is our portable system. This is a very simple system. Basically, it allows us to bring the source capture system to the vehicle as opposed to always having to park the vehicle. We have a source capture system. We have our steel frame with our forecasters. This is our fan. This is our collection hose. And it's configured in this case for a mid-chassis tailpipe. But notice the adjustable cane here. We can do it for vertical stack as well as below chassis. And on the other end, we have our hose reel. And in this configuration, the hose reel is used for our discharge hose. And it makes it very user-friendly or easy to manipulate. The picture on the right shows a system without the hose reel. So basically, everything else would work the same, but we'd take our discharge hose and we would store it on a hose storage rack. And that's going to be a less expensive option. Now, there's also high temp and high performance units available, so we can work on those on a case-by-case basis. Here's our exhaust design worksheet. This is designed to ask the questions that we'll need the answers to if you want our help in this system. So there's a lot of important information on here, and we would like it filled out as completely as possible. But the most important is where it says cubic inch of displacement or liters. We need that information. Horsepower does not give us the information that we need. And we also need, at the very least, the maximum operating RPM. We need to know how the engine is going to be operated. And then over here we have the second page of the design worksheet. And this is important because we need to know, is there an overhead crane, or are there any other obstacles? What is the electrical requirements? And it's always nice if you can kind of put a hand sketch together letting us know what exactly you're looking for as far as placement. Now this is the CFM calculation form, and basically we take the data from the last form, put it in this mathematical equation, and it helps determine the size, the scope of equipment that we need for your particular application. This is our website. There's a lot of great information on the website. We've designed it to make it as easy as possible to navigate. So your submittals are on there, your product videos are on there, case studies for other similar applications are on there, O&M manuals and such. So I encourage you to review this. If for some reason you can't find what you need, please feel free to give us a call directly. And with that, I thank you very much for your attendance, and I turn it back over to Emily.
Thank you, Mike. That concludes today's webinar on vehicle exhaust source capture. Please contact our support team for design assistance, quoting, or any other requests. Please remember our website, minoxavent.com, is home to a complete catalog and various other resources. This webinar and all previous webinars are on the Minoxavent YouTube channel. These presentations are linked off of our website, minoxavent.com. Click the Media Center tab and click Webinars. Minoxavent's next quarterly webinar will be Thursday, April 27th. The topic will focus on Minoxavent's FRP product line. We realize you all have busy schedules, and we genuinely appreciate the time you've spent with us. Thank you, and have a great day.